Defensively, the National Leaguers have Medwick in left, Reeser in center, Ott in right, an infield of Mize, Brown, Miller, and Vaughn, and the Cooper brothers of the battery. Ken Keltner of Cleveland is up. He has an average of .285, and he bats right. He opens the second inning for the American Leaguers. Cooper pitches. Ball one. The first pitch was just about hip high, and it missed the outside corner. The score, American Leaguers 3, National Leaguers nothing. The outfield is a shade to the left. Third baseman Archie Vaughn is playing close to the bag. Miller is deep at short. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball, slowly topped towards Miller, who charges it. Makes a quick throw to first baseman John Mize for the out. That was an easy chance. And the Boston Brave shortstop, who has gone through 39 errorless games and has come within 25 or 30 chances of Leo Durocher's all-time National League defensive record, made an easy play. One man out, and here is Bertie Tebbetts, the catcher of the Detroit Tigers. He has a batting average of .244. He has 9 doubles so far this year. He is a straightaway hitter. They play him slightly to the left. A crossfire pitch is wide. Ball one. One man out in the first half of the second inning. The outfield slightly to the left. Miller playing back on the grass. Jimmy Brown, too, on the right side of second base is deep. And the third baseman and first baseman are playing fairly close. Right fielder Mel Ott is not deep. Cooper winds up, delivers, strike called. A sidearm fastball. The crowd likes the colorful way that Ballanfant has been calling them, because his voice has penetrated to every nook and cranny of the historic Polo Grounds. 1-1 the count, one man out, nobody on. The American League at bat in the first of the second with a 3-0 lead over their National League brethren. Here it is, a swing and a miss. And Tebbetts very nearly lost his balance and sat right down into the dirt. 1-2. If there is any one mark of distinction that Bertie wears more than any other, it is his aggressiveness. He is reminiscent of the great Mickey Cochran. He is a fire eater, and he fights for what he believes to be the right. 1-2, one man out. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. That is Cooper's second strikeout. He got Gordon to end the first half of the first inning. And here's Spud Chandler, the Yankee pitcher, coming up. He worked as recently as last Friday night when he defeated the Boston Red Sox in the opening tilt of that crucial 3-game series at Fenway Park. The first 5 hits were doubles, 2 of them by Williams and 2 by Dorr, but thereafter he settled down to coast in with a 5-3 lead. The fact that the Yankees took 2 out of 3 from Boston in that series enabled them to stretch their American League lead to 4 games. Spud has a batting average of .147. 2 men out and none on. A half swing. Called a ball when the pitch is wide. 1 ball, no strikes. Spud has a season's pitching record of 9-2. He and his teammate Hank Baroe of the Yankees are tops in the American League, just as Larry French is in the National Loop. Cooper pitches. Ball 2. That pitch was low and outside. Spud steps out of the batter's box. As pitchers hit, he's capable of pulling it a long way. The infield is back slightly on the left, and Mize is playing in just a few feet back of first base. Cooper gets his sign from his brother Walker. He delivers. Ball 3, low. Chandler was well up front that time. He had his bat in bunt position, never used it, and the count is 3-0. 3 balls and no strikes. The American Leaguers are trying to make it 7 out of 10 in this All-Star Classic tonight. Cooper gets set, and it's a perfect strike. Chandler was set to take it, and he did. Not even an effort to swing. 3-1 the count. The National Leaguers are in the home team's dugout to the right, and just below us, in the dugout occupied by the New York Yankees, when they play in the Polo Grounds in World Series, are the American Leaguers. There's a swing and a miss for strike 2, and then Chandler did go down on one knee and was quick to get back up again. Cooper had himself in a 3-0 hole. Then he pitched a good called strike and got Chandler on a clean swing and a miss. 3-2. 2 men out and no one on. The windup. The pitch. There goes a long drive to right center field. Center fielder Reeser is over, waiting. And he takes it going away for the third and final out in the first half of the second inning. That is Pete's first chance. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. At the end of an inning and a half, going into the last half of the second inning with the National Leaguers slated to come to the plate, the totals are American Leaguers, 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. The National Leaguers, no runs, no hits, and no errors. We pause now for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
WGN, the voice of the people, Chicago.
The last half of the second inning coming up with Big Johnny Mize, the New York Giant first baseman, his manager and right fielder Mel Ott, and left fielder Ducky Medwick of the Brooklyn Dodgers slated to bat in that order. If you're one of our most recent listeners and tuned in late, in the very first inning, Boudreau led off with a home run on the second pitch to put the American League ahead 1-0. Henrik doubled to right center, moved up on DiMaggio's infield out after Williams had flied out, and York hit a home run into the right field stands just inside the pole to make it 3-0. Chandler faces Mize. It's a strike. A fast one right down the middle to Big John. He represents most of the Giant power, the power the Cardinals lost in their trade. He has an average of .292 and 14 home runs. There's a foul ball way over to the right, up against one of the box seats, and there goes Frankie Frisch of Pittsburgh to recover it. Strike two. Spud Chandler of the Yankees and Bertie Tebbetts of Detroit. That's the American League battery. In left field, Williams of Boston, DiMaggio and Henrik of the Yanks in center and right. The infield, York of Detroit, Gordon of New York, Boudreau and Keltner of Cleveland at first, second, short, and third. The count is 2 strikes on Johnny Mize. Here's the pitch. Too close. John simply stepped back almost imperceptibly to get out of the way of it. The outfield is just a shade to the right, and center fielder DiMaggio is playing deep. Chandler winds up, delivers. A curveball missed the outside corner. John followed it with his eye until the last possible break. The count is 2-2. The National Leaguers are trailing, no runs to 3 in the last half of the second inning. Spud Chandler of the Yankees and his American League teammates are off to a flying start as a result of that power that they have been talking so much about. The windup, the pitch, there goes a ground ball hit towards Rudy York. York spears it, Chandler covers, takes it in time for a beautiful piece of teamwork. That was a fine play, both by York and Chandler, who was able to go all the way from the mound to first to cover in time for the out. Mellott is up, and this, of course, is the Polo Grounds in the shadow of Coogan's Bluff, and Little Mel is one of the most beloved baseball players John McGraw ever had. He succeeded to the mantle of the famous Little Napoleon. He bats left-handed, has a batting average of .269, which is well below par for him. He has 12 home runs, however, and 10 doubles this year. 1 out, none on. Strike called. Chandler threw a fairly slow curveball over the outside. It had a nice break, just about waist high. 1 strike, 1 man out, nobody on. The American League ahead, 3-0. There goes a high foul ball, and it's going out of the field of play, up on top of the press coop, and then it rolled down over the top. The count is strike 2. That play made by Rudy York on Mize was great, but it would not have been possible had it not been for the quick reflex action of Spud Chandler, who went very quickly from the mound to first base to cover, a distance of about 65 feet. 2 strikes, 1 man out, nobody on. The National Leaguers are striving desperately to get those 3 runs back. Chandler so far has been effective, and he has had fine support. The outfield is straight away. Here's the pitch. Outside and high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. When Little Mel first reported to John McGraw down in the Louisiana training camp of the New York Giants, you may recall he was a catcher. But after 1 or 2 days back of the mound, back of the plate, McGraw decided to make him a fielder. Here's the pitch. Outside. Ball 2, 2-2. Mel still has that characteristic of his batting stance. He cocks that right foot well up into the air and lets go with it just as he swings with that lethal left-handed power of his. 2-2, 1 man out. Nobody on for the National Leaguers in the last half of the second. Spud Chandler gets his sign from Bertie Tebbetts. He takes a deep windup. Pitches inside. That one very nearly hit Mel. 3-2. He had to spin back out of the way of it. Plate umpire Lee Ballanfant goes through his whisk room act. Now he puts the brush back into his pocket. He is trying to tell somebody in the dugout that last was a foul ball and the count should be 2-2. That's right. I assumed that the ball nearly hit Mel, but it ticked his bat on the way by. Here's the pitch. Strike 3, and he is called out. He stands there as if he does not believe it. It's a called 3rd strike. A curveball that broke just about chest high. Apparently it caught the inside corner, and Mel stood there incredulously, finally went back to the dugout and made way for Ducky Medwick of Brooklyn. That is the first strikeout for Spud Chandler, and he crossed up Mellott with a superb curveball. 2 men out, Medwick up with a batting average of .344. He's runner-up to Reeser in the National League batting department. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball hit to Rudy York. York takes it. There goes Chandler to cover quickly. He steps on the bag. Medwick is out. And that is a 1-2-3 inning. In 2 frames, Spud Chandler of the New York Yankees has faced only 6 of his National League brethren. Oddly enough, out of the 3 plays that have not involved a double play on the part of the American League defense, it has been York to Chandler twice, with Mize and Medwick being the victims. In 2 innings, the National Leaguers have no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. They have had only 1 base runner, and he was short-lived. Jimmy Brown was hit by a pitch in the first inning, but Vaughn whacked into a Gordon to Boudreau to York double play. Morton Cooper is going to pitch in the first half of the 3rd inning as well. And again, he will face Lou Boudreau. That home run of Lou's must have climaxed a boyhood dream, because what red-blooded American youngster doesn't have some childlike vision that one day he will step up to the plate in an all-star game or a World Series classic and boom one of the enemy pitches far away into the bleachers for 4 bases. It was the first run Lou had driven in an all-star game. It was also his first home run. Rudy York's first home run was a freak as far as Rudy is concerned, because he hit it as a left-hander might, just down the right field line, a well-timed blow that went into the stands. Boudreau has 1 hit for a total of 4 bases. Morton Cooper pitches. There goes a high fly ball to straight center field. Reeser is coming in fast. Second baseman Brown going out. Reeser takes it for the out. 1 man out, nobody on. Tommy Henrik comes up. Henrik got 2 bases on a ball that stopped rolling when it got out into short right center field. Both Reeser and Ott had to converge on it. Tommy collected his 18th double of the year, but 17 of them count in regulation American League games. 1 out and none on. He bats left. There goes a high pop-up. Jimmy Brown is running in to the right side of second base. He follows it, and he takes it for the second out. Morton Cooper has really buckled down. He has now retired 6 consecutive American League batters after that savage 3-run explosion in the top of the first. 2 men out and Ted Williams up. Ted lifted a high fly ball to left fielder Joe Medwick about 360 feet out, his first time up, with Henrik on second base. Henrik was stranded, moved to third, and then scored on York's homer. Ted gets set. Here it is. Strike called. That pitch was right through the heart of the plate. It split that 17-inch platter just below the buckle, and the count is strike 1. 2 men out. Ted has 18 home runs, 13 doubles, 4 triples this year, and has driven in 80 runs. 2 men out and none on. Here's the pitch. There goes a drive safely into right field for a solid base hit, and the kid pulls up at first with a single. Hit number 4 for the American League. Joe DiMaggio comes up. Joe grounded out in the first inning to third baseman Archie Vaughn of the National Leaguers. The fact that a few boos greet him as he goes to the plate is really a tribute to his popularity, because no player has ever really achieved greatness until some of the boys sit back and give him the old Bronx cheer. It's music to the ears of most of them. 2 men out, Williams on first. DiMaggio, a right-hand batter, the outfield deep to the left. There's a high pop-up to the right. Back of the plate comes Walker Cooper waiting for it, and he takes it for the 3rd out in the top of the 3rd inning. A high foul fly on the first pitch with Williams breaking for second. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left. In the event you tuned in late, the American League's 3 runs came right off the reel. They exploded like gunpowder. Lou Boudreau took a ball. Then the next pitch was in there, and he promptly lost it in the left field stands at around the 400 mark. It was a tremendous wallop, and he put every ounce of his right-handed power behind it to drive in his first all-star game run and send the American Leaguers away to a flying 1-0 start. Then Tommy Henrik doubled to right center. He held second as Medwick took Ted Williams' long fly ball in left center field. Henrik moved to third as Archie Vaughn threw out Joe DiMaggio, and Rudy York pulled a long right-handed home run just inside the right field stands, the spot into which Mel Ott normally deposits those long round trippers of his. Willard Marshall is going to bat for Cooper, Mort Cooper. The first man up in the last half of the 3rd inning will be Walker Cooper. His brother will not come to the plate. It will be Walker Cooper, Eddie Miller, and Will Marshall of the New York Giants. He is the sensational rookie outfielder of this year, whom the Giants purchased from one of the Southern clubs on a look basis. There's the long throw from catcher Bertie Tebbetts down to second baseman Flash Gordon of the Yankees. Third baseman Ken Keltner is waiting for Spud Chandler to look up before he returns the pitch to him. In 2 innings, Spud has faced 6 men. He hit Brown in the back in the first inning to give the National Leaguers their only base runner. Now, with a more or less decisive 3-0 lead, he faces Walker Cooper, whose season's average is .284. Walker bats right. Foul tip into the dirt, out of the reach of Bertie Tebbetts. Walker has 4 home runs so far this year, 8 doubles and 2 triples. Oddly enough, he was the pitcher and Morton was the catcher when the Cooper brothers broke in. Mort decided he would infinitely prefer to throw at his brother. So today he is the outstanding pitcher of the National League with 11 victories and 3 defeats. 1 strike, no balls, none out and none on in the last of the third. Chandler delivers. There's a drive that goes savagely to Gordon's right into center field for a hit. The first National League hit of the night. It came on the second pitch. After a foul strike, Walker Cooper smashed a savage grounder about 15 feet to the right of Joe Gordon. And there is no longer a no-hitter in prospect for the American League twirler. Eddie Miller is up. Eddie has a batting average of .268. He's the shortstop of the Boston Braves, is having his greatest year. He has a record of 39 errorless games. His batting record includes 4 home runs, 19 doubles, and he's well up among the major league leaders in stolen bases. Walker Cooper on first, none out. Here's the pitch. There's a foul ball drifting back into the stands for a strike. 1 strike, no balls. Nobody out in the last half of the third inning. How long Spud Chandler is going to pitch remains to be seen. There has been no warm-up activity in the American League bullpen, but Johnny Vandermeer and Bucky Walters have been warming up alternately. It now is Vandermeer in the National League bullpen out in right field. 1 strike. Chandler stretches, pitches. There's a ground foul to the left, and the count is strike 2. That hit the box in which the venerable Connie Mack of the Philadelphia A's is seated, one of the greatest figures in baseball. 2 strikes the count. Back of home plate crouches Bertie Tebbetts of Detroit. The infield is slightly to the left. It's set up in a possible double play formation. And Spud Chandler is undoubtedly trying to keep the ball low on Eddie Miller to make him hit it into the dirt. Here's the pitch. Strike 3. Miller went after a chest-high curveball, missed it cleanly, and then he asked the plate umpire, Lee Ballanfant, to check it and look it over. And Ballanfant is going to throw it out. That is Chandler's second strikeout. And here is Willard Marshall of the New York Giants. He is one of the New York Giant outfielders. He has a batting average so far this season of .251. Miller was the first out in the last half of the third inning. He went down swinging. Walker Cooper is on first, and left-handed Will Marshall is batting for Morton Cooper, the St. Louis Cardinal pitcher who started for the National Leaguers. The American Leaguers lead 3-0. Here's the pitch by Chandler, low and outside for a ball. Here is another first, by the way. Walker Cooper got the first National League hit. Willard Marshall is the first pinch hitter of the evening. Chandler stretches, pitches. A slow ball is topped to the right of the mound. Chandler picks it up, throws to Boudreau for a force out at second. The relay to first is not in time. It's a fielder's choice. Marshall grounded one right back to Chandler, who quickly went to his left to break it down. He wheeled and threw to shortstop Lou Boudreau to force Walker Cooper, but Marshall reached first base on the fielder's choice. Boudreau was unable to get out of the way of Walker Cooper, who came in spikes flying in an effort to make his relay in time for the twin kill. 2 men out. Will Marshall of the Giants is on first base, and Jimmy Brown, the St. Louis Cardinal third baseman, and the second baseman in the All-Star Classic tonight, is up. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning. He bats left-handed. In the dirt, ball 1. Jimmy bats both left and right. But the fact that Spud Chandler throws from the right side makes Jimmy turn around on the left side. He is a switch hitter. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 men out. Marshall on first. Chandler delivers. There's a ground ball hit right to Joe Gordon. Gordon bobbles it, recovers it, and throws to first for the out, and the first 3 innings are over. Gordon bobbled the ball, but recovered in plenty of time. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left. So here are the 3-inning totals. For the American Leaguers, 3 runs, 4 hits, and no errors. For the National Leaguers, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. And now for the play-by-play report of the next 3 innings, here is Nell Allen of WOR, New York.
Hello, everybody. We're going to have a new pitcher for the National Leaguers as we get ready to go into the 4th inning of this 10th annual All-Star game, and it's going to be Johnny Vandermeer. Morton Cooper, who started for the National Leaguers, worked the first 3 innings, allowed 4 hits, issued no passes, struck out one man and allowed 3 runs, all of which came in the first inning when manager Lou Budrow of the Cleveland Indians led off with a home run. Tommy Henrik followed with a double. And then after Cooper had retired Williams and DiMaggio, Rudy York hit a home run into the right field stand, scoring Henrik ahead of him to give the American Leaguers their 3 runs and their current 3-0 lead as we prepare to go into the first half of the 4th inning. And Johnny Vandermeer has appeared in 15 games so far this season for the Cincinnati Reds. He's won 8 and lost 6. He has pitched 121 and 1/3 innings, during which time he has allowed 90 hits, walked 46 men, struck out 75. This is not Vandermeer's first appearance in an all-star game. Here's the announcement. Back in 1938, Johnny Vandermeer appeared in an all-star game and got credit for one of the 3 games which the National Leaguers have won from the American League teams. He pitched 3 innings in 1938 in the All-Star game, allowed 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 1 to get credit for the win. Incidentally, Dizzy Dean and Paul Derringer are the other 2 pitchers who boast wins over the American Leaguers. Dean's came in 1936 in the 4th game of the All-Star Classic. Final score was 4-3. Paul Derringer got credit for the win for the National League in 1940. That was the year the National Leaguers shut out the American Leaguers 4-0, the only shutout game in the history of the All-Star Classic. Along with Derringer, Walters, White, French, and Hubble combined to hurl that shutout. Rudy York leads off for the American League as we go into the first half of the 4th inning, with the American Leaguers leading 3-0. York hit a home run in the first inning with Tommy Henrik aboard. Bats right-handed. Vandermeer into the windup. In comes the pitch. York takes a very high one way over the head of Morton Cooper. Had there been anyone on, it would have been a wild pitch. Ball 1. A very high pitch way over the head of both York and Morton Cooper. Vandermeer goes to the rosin bag, get a better grip on that ball. Outfield plays York, just a bit toward left and center and left, straightaway and right. Vandermeer ready, into his windup. In comes the pitch to York. He takes a high one for ball 2. 2-0 to count on York. On deck is Joe Gordon, then will come Kenny Keltner. Vandermeer looks in to get the sign from Morton Cooper. Art Fletcher is coaching at third base. Bucky Harris, manager of the Washington Senators, coaching at first. Vandermeer ready with the 2-0 pitch to York. York swings and misses. Strike 1. 2-1 to count on Rudy. The National League infield, Vaughn at third, Miller at short, Brown at second, Mize on first. In the outfield, Medwick in left, Reeser in center, Ott in right. 2 balls, 1 strike on Rudy York, leading off for the American League, first half of the 4th inning. Vandermeer throws. York takes another one high, very high for ball 3. We have a 3-1 count on the Detroit Tigers first baseman. He turns around and looks at Walker Cooper and umpire Lee Ballantyne working back to the plate and sort of smiles at them. Vandermeer adjusts his cap, stands up on the hill, looks in now to get the sign from Walker Cooper. Taking his time. Eyes all set for the 3-1 pitch. York digs in, cocks that bat up over his right shoulder. Here it is. He takes it, and it's in there for called strike 2. So we have a full count on Rudy York. 3-2. 3-0 the score, favor of the American League. First half of the 4th inning. Outfield back very deep for York. Archie Vaughn playing a deep third, close to the third base line. Mize a deep first, guarding the first base line. Here's the payoff pitch to York. Rudy swings, he misses. Strike 3. Strikeout number 1 for Johnny Vandermeer, and the second American leaguer to have struck out this evening. The first one being Joe Gordon in the first inning, whom Morton Cooper struck out. And here's Joe Gordon stepping in. Has a batting average on the season of .347. Bats right-handed. Gordon's all-star batting average is .125 up until tonight's game. Vandermeer throws. Gordon takes a slow pitch high for ball 1. Outfield pulled over toward left and deep and center and left, almost straightaway and right. Playing for a pull hitter primarily. Vandermeer taking his time. 1 out, nobody on base. Johnny ready to work. Throws. Gordon takes it high for ball 2. 2-0 to count on the Yankees' second baseman, Joe Gordon. Joe steps out of the batter's box for a moment to get himself a little dirt in his hands. Now he moves back in hitting position, has a look at Bucky Harris coaching at first for the hitter take sign of the 2-0 pitch. Vandermeer ready to throw it. Goes into his windup. Gordon set at the plate. Here it comes. Joe swings, he misses. Strike 1. 2-1 the count. Gordon steps out of the batter's box now. Vandermeer goes back to the rosin bag. Crowd got a whale of a kick out of Joe Gordon's terrific cut at that pitch. 3-0 is the score, favor of the American League. First half of the fourth inning. Vandermeer rocks in the box as he goes into his windup. Here's his delivery. Gordon takes it. Strike two, it's called. Sharp curve over the outside corner, letter high. So it's 2-2 on Joe Gordon. Once again, Vandermeer to the rosin bag. The umpires back to the plate, Lee Ballanfant. At first base, Ernie Stewart, Al Barlick. On second, Bill McGowan. At third, one away, nobody on. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Joe Gordon. Vandermeer looking in to get the sign from Morton Cooper. Now he's ready to work. Gordon digs in, awaiting the pitch. In it comes. It's high. Ball 3, and we have a full count on Gordon. 3-2. Joe reaches down, gets a little dirt. Wipes it on his hands, looks over at the National League bench. Some of the boys give him a bit of a ride. He gets in, stands deep in the batter's box, in close to the plate, feet pretty close together, holds that bat down to the end of the handle. Vandermeer all set for the payoff pitch to Joe Gordon. Here it comes. Gordon takes it, and it's in there for called strike 3. And so Johnny Vandermeer strikes out the first 2 men he faces, Rudy York and Joe Gordon. And already buzzing in the minds of the fans here at the Polo Grounds tonight is that historic performance in an all-star game of Carl Hubbell. Remember that. He struck out those 5 men in a row. Here is Kenny Keltner stepping up, grounded out to short in the second inning. That's right-handed. First pitch is high outside for ball 1. Keltner hitting at .299 on the season. He was hitting at an even .500 up until tonight's game in all-star competition. Knee slightly bent, holds that bat down at the end of the handle, extended in front of his body. Outfield pulled a little over toward the left. Vandermeer all set. Keltner digs in. In comes the pitch. Keltner swings and lets it pop up. Out toward short. Eddie Miller under it, waiting for it to come down. Still waiting, and he makes the catch for the out. It went way up there. Took a long time to come down. And so Johnny Vandermeer gets a nice hand as he moves off the mound to the National League bench. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on for the American Leaguers in the fourth inning, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings, 3-0 in favor of the American League. Now we're going to pause for station identification.
This is WGN, the voice of the people, Chicago.
Hello there once again, baseball fans. Mel Allen speaking to you from the Polo Grounds. This evening, the Mutual Broadcasting System is bringing you exclusively the play-by-play description of the 10th Annual All-Star Game. Bob Elson of Chicago and Jimmy Britt of Boston alongside bring you this play-by-play description. The game tonight is being played for the benefit of Uncle Sam's Armed Forces, for the benefit of their Bat and Ball Fund, for the Army Emergency Relief Fund, and for the Navy Relief Society. The score is 3-0 in favor of the American League as we come into the last half of the fourth inning. The American Leaguers striking swiftly, a home run by Lou Budrow and one by Rudy York with Tommy Henrik on, who had doubled in the first inning, giving the American Leaguers their 3 runs. Here's Archie Vaughn leading off for the National League in the last half of the fourth. He hit into a double play in the first inning. He hit 2 home runs last year in the All-Star game in Detroit. Spud Chandler into the windup. In comes the pitch. Swung on. It's a ground ball hit out to first. York grabs it. Chandler running over to first to throw. He steps on first just in time for the out ahead of Archie Vaughn. A very close play. Chandler's had quite a workout tonight in taking throws over to first from New York. That's the 3rd time tonight that he has made a put out at first base. Johnny Mize and Joe Medwick in the second inning each grounded to York, and Chandler covered on each play. 1 out. Here is Pete Reeser, the Brooklyn Dodgers, stepping in, grounded out to Joe Gordon in the first inning. Bats left-handed, has an average on the season of .361. 3-0 favor the American League, last half of the fourth. This year it's possible for the starting pitcher to go 5 innings, and it may be that Chandler will go that distance. We'll wait and see. First pitch into Reeser. A little outside, ball 1. On deck is Johnny Mize. 3-0 favor the American League, last half of the fourth. Chandler turns his back to the plate, looks out in the outfield, playing Reeser almost straight away. Little activity in the American League bullpen right now. Left-hander and a right-hander warming up. Chandler into the windup. In comes the pitch to Reeser. It's inside for ball 2. Al Benton of the Detroit Tigers is throwing, along with Cotton Ed Smith of the Chicago White Sox. Chandler throws. Reeser swings and lines one out. Gordon makes a great stop, picks it up, throws to first, and in time for the out, but then York drops the ball, and the decision is changed on the play, and safe at first is Pete Reeser. Joe Gordon went far to his right and back of second base. made a one-handed, glove-handed stop of Reeser's drive, picked the ball up after he had momentarily booted it, threw over to first in time for the out, but York couldn't hold on to the ball, and the decision first was changed, and the official scorer has decided to give Pete Reeser credit for a base hit. A beautiful stop by Joe Gordon. And here is Johnny Mize stepping in. Mize grounded out York to Chandler, who covered in the second inning, his first time up. Mize bats left-handed. One out. Reeser on first. Chandler looks in to get the sign from Tebbetts, takes a stretch. Looks over at first. Here's the pitch. Mize takes it over the inside corner for called strike one. Bill McKechnie, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, coaching at third base. Frankie Frisch at first base. Outfield playing Mize deep. Slightly toward right and center right, almost straight away and left. Chandler ready. Reeser moves off first. The pitch to Mize. Mize swings and he misses. Strike two. Kenny Keltner at third base. Lou Budrow at shortstop. Joe Gordon at second. Rudy York on first. The American League infield. Bertie Tebbetts is catching. In the outfield, it's Williams in left, DiMaggio in center, Joe DiMaggio, and Tommy Henrik in right field. Spud Chandler stands ahead of Mize. Frankie Frisch hollers down to the plate to John, be ready. Chandler ready to work. Looks over, throws. Mize swings and drives one going into deep right field. There goes Tommy Henrik racing way back, going back to the bullpen and makes the catch for the out. And Pete Reeser, who was all the way down to second, has to hustle to get back to first. Johnny Mize drove one into deep right field. A drive good for more than 400 feet. But Tommy Henrik raced way back to the National League bullpen, which is in deep right field, to make the catch for the out. It was so far out that Pete Reeser, who was on first, had time to go all the way down to second base and come back to first after the catch. 2 outs now. Had Mize been able to pull that one a little bit more, it would have been in the stands. 2 outs, and here's Mel Ott stepping in. Took a third call strike in the second inning. Left-handed hitter. First pitch to him. Outside and low for ball one. 3-0 the score in favor of the American League. Last half of the fourth inning. 2 men away. Pete Reeser on first base. Defensive setup for Ott, almost the same as it was for Johnny Mize. Chandler blows on his pitching hand, bobs the ball around his glove. Bertie Tebbetts in the crouch to give him the sign. Chandler takes a stretch. Reeser leads off first. In comes the pitch to Ott. It's into the dirt and gets away from Bertie Tebbetts. There goes Pete Reeser down to second. Tebbetts chasing the ball. Reeser takes a wide turn, but ducks back into second. And lining up in back of Kenny Keltner, who's there to cover third, is Chandler, Budrow, and Ted Williams. He had plenty of protection. Back of him on that play had Tebbetts elected to throw the ball down to third. The official scorer has called that a passed ball. Charge to Bertie Tebbetts, enabling Pete Reeser to go down to second base, and that puts him in scoring position. 2 balls, no strikes on Mel Ott. Ottie has a look at Bill McKechnie coaching at third for the hit-or-take sign of this 2-0 pitch. 3-0 the score, favor of the American League, last half of the fourth. And that's the first National Leaguer to have reached second base so far in the ball game. Chandler taking his time. Mel Ott stepping in there to hit. Chandler ready, takes a stretch, looks back at second, throws over the inside corner for call, strike one on Ottie. 2-1. 3-0 the score, favor of the American League. It's the last half of the fourth inning. 2 men out. Pete Reeser on second base. Out the batter with Joe Medwick on deck. Chandler takes a long, slow stretch. Throws. Ott swings and drives it foul right at the plate. Strike two. 2-2 the count. Bertie Tebbetts picks the ball up, hands it to Lee Ballanfant. Lee rubs the cover up a little bit and hands it back to Tebbetts, who in turn tosses it out to Spud Chandler. Little activity still going on in the American League bullpen. Al Benton, a right-hander, and Ed Smith, a left-hander. Warming up. Benton of the Tigers, Smith of the White Sox. 2-2 the count on Mel Ott. Chandler taking his time. Now he's ready. Into his stretch. Reeser leads off second. Here's the pitch to Ott. Mel swings and drives one, but curving foul. It's going foul up into the upper deck in right field. He pulled that one a little bit too much. Pulled it foul up over the scoreboard in right field and into the upper deck. So the count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mel's been playing these Polo grounds for many a year. Knows all of its little tricks. And many a ball he's pulled into those right field stands. He's hit 12 home runs on the season. Chandler ready. Here it is. Ott moves away from an inside pitch for ball 3. So we have a full count on the Giant skipper. Mel Ott steps out of the batter's box, gets a little dirt on his hands. Chandler turns his back to the plate, looks around the outfield once again. Pete Reeser standing just a few feet off second. Lou Budrow deep short. Budrow starts moving in back of Reeser, trying to make Reeser duck back into second. Reeser doesn't pay him any attention. Chandler ready for the payoff pitch to Mel Ott. Here it is. Ott swings, sends a bounder out to second. Joe Gordon takes it on 2 hops, throws over to Rudy York in time for the out. And that's all for the National League in the last half of the 4th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no American League errors, 1 man left on base. And the score at the end of 4 innings, 3-0 in favor of the American League. As we go into the 5th inning, it'll be Bertie Tebbetts, Spud Chandler, and Lou Budrow scheduled to hit in that order unless we have a pinch hitter possibly for Chandler. Activity still taking place in the American League bullpen. And that's all for Chandler. He just took his jacket, threw it over his arm, and is trotting out to the clubhouse. And listen to the applause. Spud Chandler, who started the game for the American League, thus worked 4 innings, allowed only 2 hits, issued no passes, and struck out 2 men. And should the American Leaguers maintain their current advantage, the victory will be credited to Spud Chandler in all probability.